republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment. Do we have any public comment?
I heard a no.
Yes.
Wow. All right. We got the road, Louisville Road. I feel kind of funny with the cameras there and they're right here. Bear with me a bit. The only way I can describe what we're going through where we live, I just traumatized. I don't know any other word to use. I'm not trying to over exaggerate or anything like that either. But before I start that, I'd like to know, because I try to focus on other people's needs too, have the brake retarder signs done any good, been any good that you can tell? For the,
I've not been sitting outside of my deck yet for a while.
Oh.
So,
yeah,
let you know in July.
okay. So we can relate, I guess, but I guess you know what it sounds like from the house? Yeah, well, picture sort of the same thing in the house, but it's not us. So we have a neighbor with a son and a Jeep, and he's got a subwoofer thing in it, I suppose. And it's kind of been a bit of a bone of contention. I hear my son Charles back there in the orange. This has been here. Charles is home all day. He'd like to be working, but he's on SSI. He's got this, anyway, I'm getting that so much, but during the nights he does help other people. I'm not sure how far around the world he goes, but with their computer issues and things, he's quite good with that. Also 3D printing, he's been fooling with that for a while, so if anybody needs any help or maybe could use somebody part-time, I don't know if you know how SSI works, but if you get off it, it's tough to get back. It's anyway. So something part-time would be nice. Anyway, so sometimes he'll be trying to get a nap in the day, and I get calls periodically from work, telling me about this guy, out there. Supposedly one day or a few weeks ago was like a 3-hour long, from 11 to 2, according to Charles.
Can you clearly state what the issue is?
It's just,
I'm not sure I'm following.
But what-
Come on in.
You might as well come in, Dave.
Oh.
Wait for you to finish.
no,
I'm sorry.
all right.
Excuse me, I apologize.
To sort of feel like we're being, Sunday was kind of like the tip. Because I'd heard it before on a Saturday, I think, and I went over and talked to the young man. And I wasn't sure if he was putting on a front or what, but, when we did see Mom, a few weeks or so later, somebody come up through our yard from 73, ran over our first set of reflectors, squeezed between the next set and the property marker, and took a little divot out of the little berm there. But somehow I was able to slow down enough to make a sharp turn onto the driveway, and the theory go out. But at any rate, son Charles and I were out taking pictures and stuff. She came out to see what we were doing and kind of explained all that, and then he brought up about, her son's, radio with the fuse. And at first, she said that he's supposed to shut it down as he gets into the neighborhood. And, it was fine, but it's like, anyway, then it sounded like she was defending him, so I'm like, well, I don't know, how does this help?
How frequently is the noise it sounds like you're complaining about a noise level.
Right, and it's,
And
About
it's-
3 months.
3 months it's been going on, and how frequently?
11:30, sometimes about when they get back from school or wherever they are, and then off and on throughout the day, depending on the day, depends on weather and if they're out working on the car.
And the noise is loud music?
Thump, thump, thump
It's-
only.
it's the bass that
It's
you
the bass of the
hear.
music, okay.
Now-
Pretty high amplifier type
Now,
things.
on Sunday, like I said, picture, the truck brake, Jake brake noise like in your house. Sunday, late afternoonish, I was working on going through mail, I had the news on the TV. I was like, what in the world is that? And then, Charles started coming down the hall, and we talked about it tonight, because I wanted to get more of a picture of what he was thinking. He put his door on or hand on the door, looking to see if maybe Amazon was out there, because they're pretty loud sometimes. But they don't generally have bass like that, it's not when I've been around when they deliver. I don't think they take the time to put those in their trucks. And he said he could feel the door vibrating. Now, I don't know if we have maybe some kind of a,
Noise ordinance?
I don't know, some kind of abnormality or whatever, that we have a reverberation acoustically or something, that it just amplifies. I don't know. But I'm all the way at the other end of the ranch house, and, hearing this, like, the second time it happened, he was at the front door, looking out, and felt that. And it happened another time while I was trying to get, I wanted something to record at least what I was saying anyway, so I grabbed the camcorder and headed over. And then while I'm talking to them, while they're getting told that we should move, and then it's like, I'm not trying to threaten anybody or anything, but it's like, I did finally wind up saying, well, if this is your philosophy, it's not mine. What you're telling me then is the only recourse I seemingly have, because I know we don't have police, and I don't really want to see that and have the bill for it. And I have some suggestions I want to propose to that as well. And again, as you think about it, I'm looking for any input, that maybe I can get on what to do with this. But
Sounds like what you wanna know is, what does a citizen do when a noise ordinance is being violated? What is our next step?
Or in lack of a noise ordinance, maybe there
I
isn't.
think we do have a noise ordinance.
Well, we have.
Okay, so what are the next steps?
So typically, a noise ordinance is enforced by a code officer or whoever is identified in the noise ordinance going out there and using some device, thank you, to measure whatever the audible limit is, or to make some sort of determination as to whether or not the noise ordinance is being violated in some sort of interpretive way. So, I mean, if this is ongoing during the working day, I mean, it's easier for us from a scheduling standpoint since our code enforcement officer is a third party. But that's not to say that, and I'll have to look over the noise ordinance and speak with Vicki about it. That's not to say that we can necessarily identify a violation. One second, please. And the other thing I always caution, because this is something we hear about pretty frequently, at the municipal level, not just here, just anywhere, is there's no ordinance that prohibits bad neighbors. So even if there is a way that we can solve this issue, I always recommend that folks, take measured steps to try and work with their neighbors and to maybe be selective as to which issues they really want to pursue. Because it's not to say that even if the noise goes away that, things couldn't escalate. I've seen that happen too in the past. So I'm happy to look into this. It's something that I would have to speak with the solicitor about and the board in an executive session since it's an enforcement matter. But I'll certainly take a look.
Bit of an add-on.
If you could make a comment at the
Yeah.
podium, just so we can get everything on the record when Lee's done.
I just wanted to state the time, that's all. It was around 9 o'clock,
If you could
10:30,
do that at
that's
the
all.
podium, again, if we could just have one person speaking at a time, so
When
that
you
we
do
can
it, Dad.
keep records, please.
Do what?
9:30 to 10 o'clock sometimes on certain nights. When people are asleep, it
Oh, so
happens
this is at
too.
night.
That,
Anytime,
his
literally anytime.
His bedroom is at that end of the house. My bedroom is as well, but I have a bathroom in the vanity area between the two. I can't say I've heard it now.
But he's a resident, so.
He would
I
be,
understand.
that'd be sort of another part of the issue. He'd be more sensitive to such things than I am. Asperger's, ADHD, anyway, okay, I said it, but I guess that could be a part of the factor. It's like, how do you get people to again, I played just like I did before when I thanked everybody at the big meeting, you know, on the zoning stuff. You know, it's way better to just choose to be responsible. I mean, that's what freedom's about, the freedom to choose to be responsible, because when we don't, you get more laws. You get more laws, you wind up being a slave to whoever's making the laws. That's how that goes, you know, and I don't want communism here. So, I'd like to see everybody be able to be free, but again, to be responsible and respectful to each other as well as oneself.
Okay, so do we,
It's-
is this something that we would, you'll talk to the code enforcement officer and
So-
Vicky?
So I did have an extensive conversation with Lee over the weekend, called me, and I believe your son emailed me this same exact ordinance. I talked to John about it as we're dealing with Mr. DeCamp over in PC over there. And as I told you, he's gonna look into this, and all we can really do is, go out there, you know, let him know that there's been a complaint about this, and then the next steps would be, you know, getting him cited. But what did the state police tell you?
Well, that was the other thing, because then like an hour later, they knocked at the door and, well, you can't go over there anymore, you know, or you'll be arrested. And it was like, you know, and I went over stuff like, you know, pagoda and all that and what happened up there, this kind of stuff. And they finally got, well, can you do the same thing back? Because I'm feeling threatened here, you know, I mean, I don't know that I said that, but it's like, that's how I'm feeling.
Sure.
We had neighbors before we had to contend with dogs and everything else. Thankfully, we had 2 dog wardens, and one didn't want to do anything, wanted me to put a fence up. And the other one said, you ain't talked to them, and they got upset with me for that, you know, the people. Anyway, it's just, they moved, these guys seemed, you know, but here we are, now we're in teenage years. And I don't understand quite how that would be happening in midday if he's still in school. Unless he's got to work there, I don't know. I mean, most recently, if he's a senior, I know seniors get out earlier. You know, they did have a wedding going on, which we talked about ahead of time, you know, like in October of last year, I think it was. And up to 8 o'clock, it was fine. It was, I mean, it's cold out, we got our windows shut, and you really couldn't hear anything. It was a tent right outside, like his bedroom window. But at 8 o'clock, it was like, so I let it go for an hour. And, you know, finally called, you know, Daddy up and he said, well, you know, thanks for being patient up to this point, we'll take care of it, kind of a thing. And it took another hour. It was like 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, hour before it stopped. I'm like, this is wind down time for us, for me anyway, for getting up in the morning, and Ben gets up earlier than I do.
Okay, I think we understand the concerns and
I don't want,
we'll
but
document it
Oh,
and
that
we'll
was-
take the appropriate
if-
action.
if we needed police, could we somehow have an agreement with New Hanover? Yeah, because I drive by, I see patrol vehicles sitting there, so I don't know. Because we have some kind of agreement that if you needed a call, that they would respond. It's not like, we don't have it that often, right? You know, where there's really, that's why we don't have a police force to begin with.
This is the second complaint I got in probably a year.
We could have an agreement with a neighboring municipality to provide police service if you wanted to. It's usually very costly.
Yes.
Because they're gonna want you to take on some portion of their liability.
Yeah.
See, my only other option is to put speakers in the garage behind the house. Now, when I built that, that was built, I have double walls, the studs don't match up with each other inside to out. Okay, it's not insulated or anything like that yet, but it's for like for down the road, if I wanted to have a workshop or something in there, I don't wanna bother them, and it's next to their house. But I also put it there because they only had one window you could see out of at that end of the house, and that was on the second floor. This was the previous owners that were there. And at that time, they had opaque windows on either side of the fireplace, which they promptly, after getting approved and all that, they put clear ones in. During the meeting for zoning, they complained about invasion of privacy, me having windows along. Fine, all I want is some light. I put skylights in. This is what I do, you know, I try to, but it's like, I'm not getting anywhere.
Well, we didn't even have a chance to talk to the gentleman yet. Like I said, I talked to you, I put it out there to John, we got a million things we're doing here, but we're gonna go have a conversation with him ourselves and see what we can do here. As I told you, you get more bees with honey, so.
Just don't do anything that would get you into trouble, because
You're not gonna get us in trouble, we wouldn't do that, but,
We'll make
you know.
sure you check with the lady at the end of the table, because
But yeah, I mean, putting speakers.
Like, I don't
in
feel
your
like I
back
did
door is
anything
gonna help.
illegal by trying to, it's like, but it's,
But we're not gonna resolve it here tonight either, so.
yeah, I know.
I think we've got appropriate information to take action and move forward.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anybody else, public comment? All right. Approval of the April 9th BoS meeting minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review these?
I did,
Miss Lucy, you?
yes.
Billy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, is everybody okay with them? No questions?
All good?
I'm good. Make a motion to approve the supervisor's meeting minutes for April 9th as written.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Treasurer's report?
Yes. So on average, 33% of revenues are collected and expended in the first 4 months of the year. We are at 30.58% of the budget for the general fund, and most revenue line items are trending along with the budget. So current real estate tax collections appear to be behind prior year collections, but there were 2 large deposits totaling a little over $180,000 at the beginning of May for April collections as well. So current real estate collections are at 24.77% of the budget. That's behind prior year by $20,692. Real estate transfer taxes are at 38.42% of the budget. Earned income tax is at 44.13% of the budget, and interest income is at 51.85% of the budget. The general municipal pension shows a negative balance. As we stated, that's due to forfeitures from past employees leaving prior to the vesting period. Building permits are still up 80.68% of the budgeted year, so we're seeing a lot of permit activity, a lot of building going on right now. And expenditures paid are at 39% of the budget. Oh yes, and we received our state liquid fuels money in the amount of $116,357. Aside from that, the bills list is included in there for your approval. Our total monthly bills for this month are $102,350.50.
I'll make a motion to approve paying the bills in the amount of $102,350.50.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You gonna read these reports from
Yeah, I think we have, does anybody from the fire company wish to read the report? Doug?
Okay, for the people who don't know me, my name's Doug Kent, I'm the fire chief up here at Upper Frederick Fire Company. Just going to give you the monthly report for April. We had 13 calls for the month of April. We had 2 brush fires, we assisted the ambulance on 2 calls, we had 1 motor vehicle accident, we had a rescue with an extrication where a tree had fallen on one of the residents while they were cutting grass. He was pinned under the tree, so we had to
It didn't make a.
cut him out. We had 1 good intent call, we had 5 activations at the Mennonite home, and we had 1 CO2 activation for a total of 13 calls for the month. And our training for the month, which worked out good, we had a lot of vehicle rescue training for the month of April. We went and viewed a line of duty death movie, well, it was put together by the American Fire Company. One of their firefighters had gotten killed in a house fire, he was only a member for a year. He had 800 hours of training. And they were able to bring all that information back to everybody. We went to Royersford over there at the junior high, and a lot of the fire companies in the area got to see it, where the chief of the fire company explained everything that went wrong and everything. And it just happened on the 4th of July, which was a bad time, not a lot of members, not a lot of help, but it was very eye-opening for everybody, but it was a really good view. And then we had the ambulance at the firehouse, and we went over a lot of things there. Donna Sheeran was at the firehouse. She gave us our fake check, which we already got the real check, was $75,000. We're gonna do a little renovations in there, and a little bit of remediation for, contaminants and stuff, so. And then, upcoming events, from what I understand, we have a comedy show over at Sunnybrook Country Club. The fire company's running it in conjunction with the comedy outfit called Soul Joel's. So if anybody's interested in going to the comedy show, it's on the website. You just click on it, it'll tell you how to go. And along with that, we had 3 members complete firefighting training school. We had 2 members complete advanced firefighting. One was Adam Gluck, one was Tammy Trey. And then we had 1 member, Chris Thomas, complete basic interior firefighting. So, and I believe that's it. Oh, and thanks to everybody that came out and helped us out with the flower sale. I really greatly appreciate that. So that's pretty much it for me. Any questions?
Doug, is this what, we talked to Mr. Stogelman and Jason Perkins about the 75K? Is that what
Oh,
that
yeah.
was?
Yeah. She had the official presentation. She came to the firehouse, so we had cake and stuff for her.
Right, and are you guys not doing the renovations that we talked about with them? Where we were talking about the addition or moving the stairwell, putting up walls?
I think they had a couple of different ideas that they were kind of sanding down. And I think it really came down to what could they do with, like, what's the most they could get out of the $75,000. So I know that they had met with us and the code inspector
Yeah.
to basically try and forecast what sort of permitting, what sort of timelines they'd be looking at, and just try and cost out the project. I don't think we ever heard back if a plan was finalized.
We, Monday night, we approved to continue, and we have a rendering. It's totally different than what we talked about. There'd be no engineering, no, nothing major. It'd be all interior.
Okay.
We relocated, we're gonna relocate the bathrooms. We're gonna put a shower, mediation room, what have you.
Stairwell or something you guys are moving or?
That's,
Yeah, now, but yeah.
no, that's down the road. We're trying to create zones, like the kitchen area and all is called the cool zone. We don't want all the contaminants from the firefighting stuff to be anywhere near the kitchen and going through the kitchen to fill air packs and stuff like that. So it's basically 2 brand new bathrooms and a little place for the men to hang out above and, chill. And then we're gonna have showers and everything. You get a shower, come back from a fire, you don't wanna go home with any of the contaminants on them and everything. Have a small, maybe a little locker room for them. But we can separate the engine room from the bathrooms and just try to make it more safe.
That's what I want
and
to
everything.
asbestos, that everything came in the percentages.
Yeah, all that, yeah, it's a big thing in the fire service right now with the cancer, so
Okay.
we're just trying to go in the right direction.
How was the guy with the tree falling on?
I honestly don't know, I know he ended up probably with a broken leg. I'm not sure was that leg or ankle, I wasn't there, so I can't really say, but they carted him away.
Plymouth ambulance report, total monthly calls were 34, of that 17 at Frederick Living. Year-to-date totals are 115 and 66 respectively. And then the PA State Police report is in there as well. And again, we have the binder here if anybody wishes to look through any of these. Public Works report. Road repairs included Hawk, Kaiser, Buck Road, Gottschalk, and Swamp Creek. I had a second meeting with the Montgomery County Conservation District for Swamp Creek Road for the